external one.
Yeah.
So I went into settings.
What up, man? We are evolving.
What's going on? I got my my camera setup finally done right, just in time for us to be on Instagram. The
Yep.
photo platform.
I
We're looking
think
good.
I think I figured out how to go on Instagram, so we'll see. There might be a delay here, so but your camera looks beautiful. Coming out of the last time, my camera looked horrible, so hopefully I fixed that. But yeah, man, dude, welcome. Happy Thursday.
Yes.
So what's going on, man? What's going on in your world this week?
Nothing much. We are it's that in between weather. I think yesterday was what, 34 degrees. It was warm enough to take the jacket off in the car, and so we're starting to get ready for spring here, and put together a list for spring cleaning and all that stuff. We can sort of go over that if you want today, but what do you got? What's been on your roll?
Well, man, I had the one cool thing I like about property management is 24 years into this, I still discover new things. And this week we had, on Saturday we had, we're a vacant house in Naperville. We're showing it, and it was another real estate agent, and they reported a gas leak. So we did all the gas leak protocol. We got Nightcore out there. They ended up shutting it off. We sent out a plumber out there and an HVAC guy. But ultimately, it's an issue we have with the gas pipe coming off of the furnace. There's a whole bunch of holes in it in the gas copper. So this is very different. I've never had this issue. Have you ever had that issue before?
Never had holes before. I guess that would be, it's not a hole, but I've had it disattached from the top. The flue pipe, or the pipe that's going up. I've had it disattached before. But I haven't just had any idea how they got in there or what punctured it.
Yeah, I'll talk about what you just said in a minute, because I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't understand and get caught off guard and really get screwed on. But ultimately, what I think is happening here, because I had to figure out why, how'd this happen? Did we do something wrong? Did this guy get screwed by his new HVAC guy a few years ago before we took over? But ultimately, the only thing I could trace it back to is Nightcore was doing a bunch of work in the street recently, and just some sort of pressure was high or low or something like that. It really screwed some things up, because it wasn't just one hole. It ends up being 8 or 9 different little things that it was leaking out of. So I don't know. I'll stay tuned on. I'll keep everyone up to date on what ends up happening from that. But that's the only thing I have so far of what I think it could have been.
Interesting. Yeah, you want to talk a little more about the pipes oncoming? And
yeah. So you're a self-manager, property manager out there. This has happened. Yeah, I hate to say it feels like it happens once every season, every winter. But you get the situation where maybe a carbon dioxide detector goes off, or gas leak goes up. Nightcore comes out, or the fire department comes up, and they discover that there's something wrong with your chimney, or the flue, it's cut off or something, and they just shut off your gas. And ultimately, it's usually on the coldest time. It's never when it's 30 out. It's when it's 30 below, and they will not come back out till you have it fixed. So now you have to get a guy that maybe is a chimney guy, and it's a Saturday and it's 30 below. You might not get that guy out to Tuesday. So either you're moving this tenant somewhere. You still have to heat the place, because you can't have frozen pipes even if the tenant's not there. Or you're giving tons of space heaters so the tenant can keep the place warm. But is that similar to kind of what happened with you?
Yeah, we've seen that before, and I think what happens is a lot of people, especially I think it's probably one of the most, I don't want to say inspectors miss it, but I think that we as investors and buyers skim through it and don't really pay too much attention, because it's not doing anything. But the lining of your chimney is super important, and having that done. And that's sort of leading into what I was talking about with spring stuff is, we're almost here warm enough to be able to do some of this stuff. with the brick and making sure that the wind's not. So what happened the last time that happened to me, the wind basically was blowing in freely from the chimney into into the basement, I guess, yeah, for lack of a better term, and knocking around some of the stuff with the furnace and some of the pipes. So yeah, I think getting some of that stuff done, making sure your liner is A, done, and then B, cleaned. Both for your furnace and if you have dryers at the property, uh dryer vent, and I know it's not the same exact topic, but dryer vent cleaning, it's the same people that you would hire to do it, uh to to make sure that stuff's taken care of, and preventing fires, preventing CO2 from coming back from backdrafting into the home.
It's a crazy problem. Chimneys have more problems than most people realize because most of the time, if you don't have a fireplace, you're really not doing anything with it, right? Maybe it's
Mhm.
exhausting or venting out that, but we never realized how many problems these properties really have until Schaumburg has about 5 or 6 years ago. So part of their rental license program is you have to have a licensed chimney inspector company sign off on it. And one thing that for anyone out there, if there's chimney vendors out there, there's not enough of you guys out there, and or I haven't discovered yet. So if anyone's out there listening, you're a chimney or you got a chimney guy, please send them our way. Um, but those repairs are never like, all right, we'll fix it. It'll be $300. It's everything's $3,000 because I
Yeah,
mean it's a lot of
yeah.
labor. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's too expensive, but it is. They're never cheap fixes. And it sounds like you had. I mean, you could have either issues with the brick on the inside, which is tough to get to. The
Mhm.
stuff on the outside is a little more obvious, but the lining is that other crucial part. But man, a lot of people walk around. A lot of people go around investing, not realizing they have all these different issues with their chimney or cracks in it, and ultimately could lead to a big problem.
No, exactly. And what it is, it's your the point you the reason you have a chimney is your furnace creates CO2 and it's pushing it out of that chimney and thus outside of your house. But if you get backdraft or you get the wind blowing where it can get in and the liner's not correct, or you have, to your point, on the outside of the brick, you have holes and things like that, it really can cause some inconvenience. And if you let it go too long, people can get sick from CO2 because that CO2 is coming back. Could also light on fire if it hits the wrong thing. There's a lot of potential danger there. With that backdraft there.
We'll go back to tuck pointing in a second. But the other thing around chimneys that I realize is such an inexpensive thing to have, and technically, if in the city of Chicago, it is code is to have one of the chimney caps on there. The little chimney cap that sits up there, it's only three to $500, depending on how high the chimney is up there and who's got it sent out there. But
I was going to say that's the one thing that chimney people can do for under 500 probably
yeah,
is,
that's what made me
is
think
put
about it.
that
What can
on.
they do?
So funny story. When I bought my personal house in Tinley, we came for the home inspection, and the sellers were chasing out birds that were in the house because they went through the chimney because they didn't have that cap. So that was we moved in, and within a week, that was the very first thing we did, was put that cap on because birds were literally nesting in this chimney when we bought it. So it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper than trying to get birds flying around your living room. And this was probably one of the weirdest, and of course it's my own house, one of the weirdest inspection issues I've ever dealt with, seeing the homeowners chasing birds out.
Yeah, the cap to your point before about the wind, there's just certain days where wind blows a certain way and it can actually get down your chimney and actually affect your pilot, your burners and stuff like that. And having that, and if anyone's listening, that's truly in the business. I might be saying these things wrong, but the concept I'm pretty confident I have right. That wind goes down there and it messes a whole bunch of other things, and that cap is one thing that could at least prevent that from happening some of the time.
Yeah, no, 100.
Um,
100%. Besides that, what other? I mean, like I said, I'm sitting here, even though it's still cold. I'm thinking about warmer weather and getting prepared for that. What do you guys put on your spring? I'll call it spring cleaning list. But what's your preventative maintenance that you guys? I know we talked about making sure in the winter and stuff, making sure furnaces were there. But anything you guys do for your clients in the spring?
So we don't necessarily. So if on the fall we have our furnace cleaning or boiler fire up. That's mandatory, right? We
Mhm.
have to get those things done, and we have a whole bunch of data now after all these years of the years we were lackadaisical about getting furnaces cleaned or having the owners push back about like, can we do it every other year? Versus now, and our maintenance is crazy lower compared. But on the front end, we do make the AC, even though we highly recommend it, the AC cleaning optional in the front end. And we actually have a bunch of data from last year of the people who got it done versus the people that didn't get it done. And we're going to push that out this year a little harder as far as encouraging people to get it done. It's not even a money making thing for us. It's more of a everyone's life is easier, including your tenants, if you actually take care of your stuff. Because in the end of the day, it's the tenant that loses out the most when it's 95 and your AC goes out just because of something you didn't catch on the front end when you could have cleaned it for $95 in May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one. The other big one that we get, and we've gotten some pushback, and then it's 100% people that push back are the people that we have bigger problems with in the future. But cleaning your gutters. So I mean, the fall you have leaves and stuff like that, but spring you have we have all these storms in Chicago that hit, and you're getting debris and a bunch of stuff in your gutters. And when those get filled, especially if you didn't do it in the fall yet, when those start to overfill, that water comes back onto your roof and onto your um, fascia and stuff like that. And and even your brick and siding start to get deteriorate faster. So instead of a roof lasting 30 or 40 years, or your siding lasting, however long that's supposed to last, the lifespan gets cut a lot shorter because you're not taking care of the gutters, and you're seeing that water overflow and just sort of sit on it and cause leaks. So that's the big one for us in the spring. Obviously AC, same thing. We have it as optional, that they can order that to get it cleaned. And I don't have the data that you do on the AC stuff. So I'd be glad to see that if when you publish it. But we definitely do see the people that opt out of the gutter cleaning, and then within a year or two, all of a sudden they have either a tuck point that needs to be done or roof damage because of the storms and things like that, because it wasn't taken care of.
Yeah, the crazy thing about the gutters is it doesn't take people like, oh, I don't have any trees. It's like all you need is a handful of leaves or sticks and leaves combined that will block up a section of your gutters. It doesn't, you don't have to have the full thing packed. A lot of people picture the whole thing packed, or it goes to your downspout, and also your downspout just overflows versus flows properly into the ground or into out to the drainage area. But it ends up just being sometimes small things that end up being the issue when it comes to backing up with the gutters. And that's when you get into the dumb problems of the gutter backs up, and in the winter right now it might freeze and thaw, and sometimes that pushes up your, like you were saying, it damages your roof, it pushes up your shingles, that gets out underneath it. Then all of a sudden you have this wet spot above your window. Then all of a sudden the tenant's reporting a wet spot, and you do see it's wet, but now you can just go in there and you can maybe sand it down, it's dry, and paint it. But now they're complaining about mold, or now their kid gets allergic reaction to something, but it's really easy to point towards that. So you just open up all these unknowns when you have water damage, and it's just so important. And it's funny how much caulking can really prevent water, especially around windows.
Caulking around windows, caulking. I'm just gonna throw this out, not that it's spring or anything, but caulking around tubs and things like that. If you have a tenant that's been there for I think a lot of people do it when they do turns, but if you've had a tenant that has lived there for 3 to 5 years and you haven't gone in and looked around the tub and just made sure the caulk's still good, all of a sudden now they're showering and there's no leak. These are my favorite, because you send a plumber over there and they're investigating, trying to find the leak and trying to find it. Nothing can ever repeat. And then the next day the tenant upstairs takes a shower again and water gets out and it starts leaking again, and you're sending, like, those are always the ones that take the longest to diagnose, because it's not an actual leak. It is the fact that that water is getting on the outside and you don't have your caulk and your around your tub good enough. Same thing for windows and doors, and draft sealants for those as well. Whether it's fall or spring, keeping pest out is another thing that will do. It keeps cold air out, but it's also vital for keeping roaches and ants and stuff like that from getting in on those.
Man, it's amazing, and I experienced this the most when we were doing heavier management on the south side, your neck of the woods. People don't use shower curtains all the time. It's like that is sometimes a foreign thing, where it's like where that's like a question we ask sometimes if we're having that issue of like water keeps going down and you go in there and there's no shower curtain. It's like, how you doing that?
Yeah, that I get that, and then I also get, or we also see it where they have a shower curtain, and I guess they don't realize that, like, the amount of people that don't understand that you have two when you have a shower curtain, there's two parts to it, and one goes inside the shower, one goes out, or if you only have the one part, it goes in the shower to keep the water in. Uh, we've had far too many tenants that don't know that and keep in the, not that I've ever seen them shower, but you can tell that it's kept on the outside and the water just hits it and bounces off and onto the floor. So yeah, that's definitely a training that more people than you would ever think need.
We took on the Straight Up Chicago Investor merch store. We have a shower curtain on there now, and the last couple tenants that we ran into it, we sent them that shower curtain. So we're trying to promote and prevent water leaks into units below. So
is it branded?
Yeah, it's branded. It says it Straight Up Chicago Investor Podcast.
That's awesome.
I figured we have the merch store on the GC side. We're like, they might be mad about the GC side. They don't even probably correlate the podcast with GC Realty at times. So, but yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'll shout out to Drew Millard, property manager friend. He's out of the property management business, but the one thing he always said to me that was funny, and you said something about it, is windows don't leak. It's never the actual window that leaks. It's always what's around it, what's above it. What's below it, even sometimes that the ledges that are pitched the wrong way, that just the water collects there. And he's always like, I've never seen a piece of glass that leaks.
Yeah.
So transitioning off of kind of the spring, any updates with squatters or anything you're hearing out there about? I did hear one story about police in the suburb of, which was it? It was Bedford Park. They actually came in. I think it was Bedford Park or down there, southwest suburbs. Willow Springs was one of them. That they came in and someone moved in and the police came and they got them out. They didn't arrest them, but they got them out and they put them on some list or whatever. So that was.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Like I don't need them. Like if you don't want to process, I won't get too political with you, but that's the odds of getting someone in jail and staying in jail in Illinois is very low anyways. So I think we'd be pushing, if we're pushing for that. Let's just get them out of the houses and I could care less. I'll be happy. No, but again, nothing new. And what it seems like it's going to be until someone can readjust the law and rewrite it a different way is there has to be some kind of forced entry. So a couple things I'm recommending for all of our clients right now on vacants is putting up alarms, being able to say, hey, there was a break. Like if ADT or Simply Safe is calling the police saying, hey, there's a break-in, it's going to be much easier to convince them to remove the tenants than if you just call and say, hey, there's someone squatting here. So that's part of it. And then, part two, if they do break in, make a police report right away, even if they're not. We had someone break in, which actually apparently this is when I was talking to my customer support rep at Simply Safe. Apparently this is common, but it's the first time it's ever happened to me. They broke into a building with an alarm, took the alarm and put it in the freezer.
Wow.
I guess that's a way to try to get it to stop beeping. But they ran before police got there, but now they have an entrance, now they make their entrance or they have their way in. So we went and boarded it up, but also created that police report because we need to make sure the police understand this is vacant. I saw someone else, but I'm not 100% sure how well this would work, but someone else said that they have started registering their vacant units with the police department in certain villages. I don't know if that will be a thing or if that's even I don't even know how to do that, to be honest with you, but just throwing out some things I've heard. Just ways to make the police aware.
I don't know if the laws changed, whatever.
Say that again.
I don't know if I don't know if the law changed or anything, but I know in the state of Chicago, like technically you're supposed to, if it's vacant more than 6 months or some sort of time period that you're actually required to, you get in trouble for it. Not saying that.
If the full building is vacant, yes. Yeah, we do a lot of two flats and like four flats and stuff like that. So it's rare that the whole building would be vacant. But yeah, if the whole building's vacant, you're supposed to register it.
Nice, nice. Well, talking about laws changing and leadership, and you get a bunch of elections coming up here. I know on March 11th, MBOA is really pushing their evening with Rahm Emanuel. Are you going to that?
I just saw it come through, so I'm it's technically my dating anniversary with my wife, so I don't think we're doing anything though, but we'll see. I'll see if I can get
Bring her
free.
with. It's your plus one. She'll love it.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
right.
you go. Dress up. Let's go see Rom. But I'm sure someone from my team will probably be there at least if I'm not, to see what's going on.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Has he announced that he's running for president? I know this is off topic, but it says in there future president candidate. I haven't heard him announce or
We
say
had Mike.
anything there.
We had Mike Lasser and Aaron Borstein on the podcast yesterday, which is doing a Tuesday tip to promote the event, and they keep saying that. So I don't know how official or how wishful that is, I guess, by them. So, but we are going. GC is going to be sponsoring. We got the name tag sponsorship. But I guess I want to put out there to everyone the MBOA Neighborhood Building Owners Alliance. That is a group that really looks out for the best interests of small investors, small landlords, they'll call them housing providers. That's their thing, not landlords. But for the same reason, me and Tim are on here trying to help you guys be stronger investors. MBOA does this on the entire Chicago level. They work with Chicago Association of Realtors, CA, Chicago Apartment Association. They'll work with IAR. They're always working with, they'll work with Straight Up Chicago Investor Podcast to get the message out there with stuff. But MBOA is made up of, I believe, I think it's up to 10 neighborhood groups here. And we have it linked to it on the podcast, all the different groups, but they all have their own different networking component. So if you are, just interested in getting involved in your particular neighborhood, they got the South Side Association, they got the Edgewater Association, they got the Rogers Park Builders, they got the Lincoln Park Builders, the Northwest groups. So it's super, if you like what me and Tim do here and talk about real estate, talk about, management, they're all about protecting the landlords like you guys.
Yeah, and I'll put it this way too. Tenants have so many tenant right groups and so many, their funding is from all over the place. Some of it's government funding, some of it's just a bunch of people putting groups in, but they are in the ears of the state senate and the aldermen and subsidy program, things like that, tenant rights advocates. They are at every city hall meeting. They are at, and so when the aldermen or state senate look at issues, if they're only getting feedback from these groups, to them it looks like, oh, okay, the majority of people want this. So it becomes super important for associations like CAR and MBOA and apartment, the apartment, I forgot the full name of that one, but
CAA.
yeah, CAA, to be there and be that other voice and say, hey, whoa, yes, there are some people that want this, but that's because they're in this situation, but this is why this is better for that. And the unfortunate truth is so many of these laws that they create hurt the tenants that they're supposed to protect more than they help. And without places like MBOA to go and explain, like, you're going to do this and this is what's going to happen. And because of that, the tenants are going to be worse off. So, I mean, one of the things that I always point to, evictions in Cook County take forever. I mean, if you buy in, well, you're in, do you do DuPage and Will, or just DuPage mostly?
DuPage, Kane, Cook. We're in all of them, but yeah.
What's the eviction time for non-Cook? Is it like, I know Will County is like,
so if you're in
60
DuPage
days.
and you're in Kane, you should be able to get from the day you serve file the eviction, you should be able to have them out in 90 days. Like, so it's funny
So
how
I know Will County by me is by my personal residence is the same, and so it's not an Illinois thing, it's not a country thing, it is a Cook County thing that is causing the delays on these evictions in Chicago and in the Cook County suburbs. But what that really does is it makes it where I have to charge more for rent because I have risk, and also B, I have to now be super stringent on who I let in. Like, I'm going to deny someone with an eviction because I can't take that risk for my client. If it was a case where I could get someone out in 60 days, I'd probably be giving more people chances to rent. Just to be perfectly honest, it's not as big of a risk. But when the risk is 10 months of lost income and the lawmakers don't understand it, and that's why I think being part and giving your money and giving your time to these organizations is huge.
Yeah, for sure. And naturally, a lot of, especially in the city, right? So in the city, aldermen or politicians, there's a lot more residents than there are investors like you and me or anyone watching this. So they tend to listen, the residents tend to have more people represent them, like you said, and they seem to scream louder. And that really lowers, and it's really easy to demonize landlords as these big filthy rich Scrooge McDuck type people. So the MBOA and the MBOA PAC, which is, they always make sure I tell them it's a separate organization, their goal is to really represent the landlord and be able to yeah, make sure that things are more fair and things if something's going to happen, for instance, the Cook County RTLO, RTLO that came out in 2021. If it wasn't for the MBOA and what CAA did, and MBOA really led the front, that would have been a hell of a lot worse for people in Cook County than how it came down to. So if stuff is going to happen, which things change, the world changes, you can't fight everything and not give anything in return. They're at least going to make sure that landlords have a seat at the table to help craft some of that or modify some of that, or really point out where things can have adverse effects down the road. So I'm going to put the link in for the events on March 11th. I'm excited. I've always wanted to meet Rahm Emanuel. I'll be there. Like I said, we're sponsoring. There's going to be 250 people there, roughly 250, 300. And these are going to be this is a great room to, if you're looking at a network, like this is a great room to be networking in between politicians, aldermen who are also politicians, but they're a little more local, a politician. Obviously Rob's going to be there. Everyone from the MBOA is going to be there. I'll be there. Tom from the podcast will be there. Tim will not be there, but he's going to separate representatives because he doesn't want to get divorced. But yeah, it'll be a great event, and it'll help you support the MBOA. And you could definitely, it's all about who you know.
Yep, absolutely.
So ready for springtime. We talked about that. Where evictions are coming along. What other problems do Chicago landlords have coming into the spring rental season?
I think one other thing I think that we both experienced so far, or this winter, at least for us, and from talking to other property management companies, this is probably one of the roughest leasing winters we've had, between ice in two different ways, between it being probably the coldest winter in 5 years and the actual ice raids and stuff like that. We're the amount of showings that we're able to get on our properties in December and November and parts of January were a lot lower. We're starting to see, and I'm curious what you're seeing, but we're starting to see a huge uptick, even in our older property, or when I say older properties, the properties that have been listed a little bit longer, that have gone a little stale, are getting a lot of showings all of a sudden. So I think we're finally in, for landlords, some good news is we're finally in that spring market where things are going to be able to lease a lot faster and we can get back to some normalcy here in the leasing season. But what are you seeing?
Yeah, so we reported to our clients, our GC clients last week. It might have been last week or the week before, but we came out of Christmas, right? And between Christmas and call it that second week of January, gun ho, so many showings. And we always have more showings between Christmas and New Year's than we do between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's crazy. And we came out gun ho just as we normally do, and then all of a sudden it came to a halt. And it was about a 3-week just hiatus of everyone kind of closed up and went away, and we're like, oh no, what do we do? And we kept talking around the office like, oh, let's drop the prices. Like, it doesn't matter, like no one's out. Like let's just do this. We have to wait through it. And the cool thing is everything's kind of springboarded forward, so everyone that might have been looking at January, that was looking to move March 1st, they've the last couple of weeks they've came out gun ho, and we've got more things leased in the last call it 2.5 weeks than we have in the last 2.5 months. So
for sure.
I do feel the slowdown just kind of created a pent up demand for people having to run out, which might have even helped in a couple of situations where all of a sudden you had 2 or 3 quality applications that either you could negotiate the move-in date or be able to not have to drop the price again. So
yeah, no, we've seen that, and Chicago's an interesting spot, right? Because I can tell you, again, we had a lot of other stuff for this winter that we talked about, but the second week of January, we're at -30 with windshield, and no one's going outside, and I can't blame them. No, like if you don't have to move till March 1st, you put that off. And then all of a sudden it was 65 degrees and sunny, and it's time to take the kids to the park. It's time to go outside for a run. I'm not doing any work because it's we only have 3 nice days before we go back to cold. So the weather's finally normalizing again, and I think for us, and it sounds like for you guys too, showings are on an upswing, and we're getting back to some spring showings. Which for on the sales side, I feel like pre-COVID, it was always talked about that the Super Bowl was the start of the sales side. Um, During COVID, for whatever reason, I feel like it moved up to like January, where people were buying more and selling more in January. But I feel like we're back at the Super Bowl being that kickoff. I don't know if you're seeing anything or if you deal with that at all.
Yeah, definitely. I think even going back further, coming out of the Great Recession, all the seasonality of everything went out the door, even with renting too. And I think they started to almost get back to normal, and then COVID hit, and then you screwed everything up, especially in Chicago, because everyone, when two-thirds of the city has everyone moving out in the same 4 month period, and all of a sudden that got kicked back 90 days because they couldn't do anything. That screwed everything up, and
Mhm.
it was just this season. And it's like that September cutoff. Like you just had it ended earlier, and it's starting later. So again, I think all the same work gets done. It just gets done in a smaller amount of time. And us as a team, we're trying not to panic in those slower seasons or price accordingly. So
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing I've seen as you return back to a normal market. It used to be or not used to in these irregular times coming out of the Great Recession or coming out of COVID, you could rent something in October, November, and maybe only being 1% or 2% below rent range, your rent that you were wanting to get.
Are
And
you
now
guys
it's
doing
gone
anything?
up.
Sorry. Are you guys doing anything to try to get out of that season for your clients? Like if your client comes to you with a December vacancy, are you obviously you want to rent it as quick as possible, but are you doing anything with the lease to try to incentivize it to end in April or May
Yeah, so
versus December next year?
we don't allow leases to end in October, November, December. So if you're signing up in those time frames, we'll do 15 or 16 month leases, kicking out to no sooner than March 31st, which I think March 31st is perfect. Even February, end of February for a March move-in is still fairly well. You're kind of the first person out. You could bump up the price a little. You could kind of start setting the market for the neighborhood, whatever neighborhood you're marketing in. But yeah, no, we try to just not have to have anything ending. It helps, doing turnover work is a lot easier, not doing it around that time. And then at the same time, not having to market it. So yeah, that's exactly what we do.
No, we're very similar. And we try to do as best we can with the new leases, but if it's slow, we'll take what we can, and then we'll try to, a lot of our renewals might be 14 months or 10-month renewals to get out of that season in the same way.
You know what's crazy? And it took me many years. We only started really capturing this 5, 6 years ago. But there's a big difference in our properties we manage for move-in dates between the city and the suburbs. Like the people in the city, especially west and northwest side, downtown, they are planning 60 to 90 days out to move. The person in Schaumburg will move in next week. And that's really changed our process over the years of doing the pre-market. Now there's some Chicago investors right now listening thinking like, yeah, where the hell you been? But a lot of people don't realize that they're waiting until the unit gets vacant. They clean it up, and then they get it rented in 2 weeks, but the person doesn't want to move in till for 40 days. And
Hmm.
I was doing a study for all of the last 2 years of leases where it's great. You can lease something in 4 days, but if they don't move in for another 30 days, like that 4 days, it doesn't matter because our clients or me as a landlord, I really don't care how quick you get at least. I care how fast money starts coming in. So that's one of those kind of quiet vacancy killers of how long will they move in after it. And that's always negotiable. I always try to remind landlords like, hey, they got the place. They know there's other applications. If they want April 1st right now, try get it March 1st. And if anything, March 15th, that's still a couple of weeks. If you have a $3,000 rental, it's still
Hmm.
another $1,500. And more than likely, in the end of the day, they might like that because they have a couple weeks to move slowly. They might have to double pay, or they're able to use their other deposit somewhere. But keep that in mind. That's a vacancy killer when you allow too much time after you get that signed lease till move in.
Yep. No, absolutely.
So I am getting excited about the nice weather. I'm getting excited about the season this year. I'm getting excited about leasing as always. I think leasing. I think leasing's fun. If even if I didn't have a property management company, I think I'd own a leasing company. That's probably my favorite part. It's like you get to like, do deals so fast. But
Yeah.
you just have so many more scams this year. So I don't know what you're seeing out there, but one of the final topics I just want to cover on here today is there's just a lot of fraud out there. And as much as we can research stuff with AI, scam people or bad people can create stuff with AI. So now more than ever, the ability to look out for BS is
Yeah.
important.
No, absolutely. We caught a couple this week already. Just, I think two or three in apps this week alone. So having software that can do that is huge. I think a couple weeks ago we were talking about AI and uses for it, and I think that's one of the biggest ones. Is catching that, and then just also being vigilant on looking for your ads, right? Because a lot of these scammers are copying your ads and putting them up on Craigslist, Zillow, whatever it is, and it looks like your ads. It's your photos, which it's a good thing to watermark them with your phone number or something if you're a landlord, so that you can't get spoofed as easily, because they just take your photos and they put it up and they say, hey, send me your. All of a sudden we'll get a call and say, hey, I sent in the first month's move-in fee for this apartment. Can I come see it? What do you mean? What? That's not how it works. So having alerts, so you can set up alerts on Google and things like that for your name, for the address. Setting that stuff up and just making sure that you're catching it before they can get ahead of you is huge for us.
I have a meeting next week. I believe it's next week. It might be Friday or next week, with a company that offers some sort of like 24/7 scan of your listings. So this becomes a problem for us too, that just people copying the stuff, and they can even remove the watermarks in a way now. You could tell if you're looking for it, but if you're not looking for it, you can see that. So I mean, with some sort of monitoring company, I have no clue. I'll keep you updated. I'll keep everyone updated on what comes from it. But that could be. And it's funny, as technology goes on, it starts opening up these new industries. Like it gets like fraudulent ad. It becomes an entire security industry as part of a security arm of something. So.
No, absolutely. I'll throw this out too, and I'm not sure if you're in the same boat, but I think you usually are around this time. So it may be for both of us, but you can let everyone know. But you talked about how you like leasing and it's quick money. If you're a realtor, especially a new realtor, I was originally a leasing agent only. I got my leasing license, had that for about 6 months, and then got my real estate license and moved into property management from there. Leasing is a great way where you can get, especially in the summertime and springtime, make commissions quickly. If you're doing a sale, it might take 3 or 4 months, and yes, that sale is going to pay you 5 to 10 grand, and a lease only pays you 1,000. But if you can do 20 leases in that time, you made 20 grand versus 5 grand. So it's something to definitely think about if you're in real estate. And with that being said, with springtime, at least for us, and again, I'll throw it out for you as well, but we're often looking for leasing agents to come and join our team. So if you know anyone, even if you're not in real estate yet, we can get you trained and get you licensed. So if anyone out there knows anyone that wants to get into the industry, it's a pretty good way. And if they're willing to work on the south side, we'd love to talk to them and see if they can help us in this season. And again, I don't know if you're hiring out by you guys for leasing, but now is generally the season to find those jobs.
So we're big on that, having, call it, not even seasonal. We call it 1099 showing agents, where they're just showing randomly above and beyond. Maybe they're 9 to 5 or on the weekends. So we have that. But one thing that we are looking for, and I put a post on this on the Straight Up Chicago podcast Facebook group page the other day, is we're looking for call it gig work around move out, move in inspections. So if a place goes vacant, you go down there, we'll give you a set fee. You'll download our software app and our inspection app. You do the inspection, and then 10 days later, you go back and do a quality control. So we are doing that if anyone's interested. We are looking actually for someone. We need someone southwest, south, and southeast side mostly. So similar to maybe someone could work for you doing leasing and for me, and it's a full-time gig almost. So
there you go, 1099. So,
and there's no better way to learn business.
I was just about to say that if you're one of the people that I was just at an event and I was talking to a guy, he's like, I've been getting into real estate for 2 years. And by getting into it, he means like he's been coming to these meetings and learning about real estate investing for 2 years, and he still hasn't done anything, and he still isn't sure if he wants to or how to do it. This is by far, whether you're going to go in as a real estate agent, property manager, want to get in that side, or whether you want to get into real estate investing. If you're not there yet and you want something you could do while keeping your 9 to 5 and all that, and sort of working on your own and some extra cash, these are both great jobs to have to learn the shit that you're going to have to go through when you get into it, and stop being scared to get into it.
Yep. I love it. All right, man. That's a great way to wrap up this week's episode. Guys, if you liked it, leave a comment. Let us know any topics you want us to join in. And next week we're trying to do this every single Thursday. If you want to share this with other people, we'd love it too. If you missed this and you're watching the recording, you can always reach out to us as well too with any questions or comments. So if you're looking for property management, Tim's got your back on the southwest side, west side. And if you're in the suburbs, love to help you as well too here at GC Realty. Tim, any final words?
No, guys, enjoy the weather. I know we're getting up to 50 tomorrow, so get outside, go take your kids to the park, get some sunlight. The vitamin D is important.
All right. Thank you, Chicago investors. Talk soon.